Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're doing a depot with me video. Let's call it that one. I have these three cutie palettes by Nabla and I love a few of the shades in here, like a lot, but I never reach for them because in themselves they're not a complete color story for me. Even worse, I think from some palettes I only like one shade, okay, maybe two. So I am going to depot these pans and then see how they fit into a magnetic palette and potentially repan them as well. That is not my preference because it takes a long time and I don't have a long time. I don't have patience and I don't mind having square pans. If you look at one of my palettes, I also have my Cleona pans that are square. For example, my Lethal Cosmetics pans are square. So I don't mind them being square necessarily because it saves me time. But if you look at this, I repanned the Beauty Bay Earthy palette last year and this past year, I want to say actually. And it's much nicer, neater, better. But I didn't have 3 kids at the time. I only had one. So I have a short amount of time that I can dedicate to this and I will focus on depotting them. The quality of the palettes is okay. I'm not in love with the mattes and some of the shimmers are just amazing. Let me show you something like this or this. These are like sparkly gorgeousness and I really want to keep them in my collection without having to keep the palettes. This shade especially, this one right here, is amazing. I will start with the palette that I care the least about and then see how it goes. The first thing to do, usually with palettes, is to remove the outer packaging to expose where the eyeshadows are contained. Now you can do this in a neat way with the spatula. You can heat things, but because it's cardboard, the glue will stay and the cardboard will rip, so I don't really mind about that too much. And that's the first one gone. Now this part right here, let me put paper underneath. This part right here is then a matter of removing the, let's say, aesthetic casing, this cardboard outside, which is plasticated, and you then can see all the layers of cardboard of which this palette is comprised of. And actually immediately the first one comes off, which is very handy. There we go. And then you can immediately see the pans in the casing, which is really nice. The eyeshadow I am most interested in is this one right here, but let me try actually one that I'm not, because I want to see how stuck they are. And oh, this is fine. What you want to avoid is to bend the pan. Bending the pan will mean it will break. But in this way, the cardboard came off and not the pan didn't break. So that is great. Now moving on to the shade I actually want to have, which is Mandarin, I think it's called, yes. This is how it comes off. And so the pan are already different. You can see this one is corrugated, this one is smooth. Oh, fabulous. And it's actually stuck with like a circle of glue, which came off really easily. I love this, it's perfect. Let me see if this is magnetic. Yes, so I don't have to repan. Look at that, it fits perfectly right there. I'm going to place the shades in a Nabla magnetic palette, and I think I'm going to depot them all and then see if someone wants the other ones as a gift. I did that with my earthy palette and Maria got them recently. I don't know, I don't want to throw away perfectly good eyeshadows, but that are just not my preference. One thing that I almost forgot is to write the names. So if you say the top of your palette, which actually went like that, then you know the names of the eyeshadows. I have some little labels here, and this is Nabla Mandarin. Of course, there are many ways to do this nicely, and you can print the labels, you can do a lot of things to make things prettier. but I don't really mind. If you're interested in a more professional or proper way of doing this, you could follow Faces by Gina on Instagram. She has her whole collection repotted or repanned into round pans, so that is numbered and correctly archived and everything. Now, do I like this red shade? I mean, it's a nice shade, but it's a satin and I don't see myself really using it. I love that these rounds of like glue or sticky tape really come off super fast and easy. I am very happy with that. This is a matte brown, not something that I necessarily need. And the shade Coral Amber is still a little bit of a question, because I think it's quite pretty, but it's not really that special. It's just a shimmer shade. I don't think I'll keep it. It feels weird to throw things away, so I don't want that. But I also don't want to keep things that I don't need or see myself using too much. So here is your first palette dissected. I have 5 shades here that I didn't care for, and the shade I wanted right here. If you're interested in these eyeshadows, let me know. I'm happy to send them to you for a minimum cost, but I don't want to throw them away. And here goes the next one. Hopefully it's just as easy as the first one. I think they're from 2 different series. Yeah, this one seems better stuck to start with. Oh yeah, definitely. See, this one is a different construction of palette. It's interesting. You'll never find out if it wasn't, you weren't breaking these apart. So this one, instead of the little, instead of these little flaps on the side, it has a much more substantial casing that wraps from the front to the back. It's quite interesting to see how these things evolve for a brand. I think that the first one was released with the first batch of Cutie palettes, and this one was a second release of Cutie palettes. There were 3 and then 3, or 3 and then 3, I want to say, or 2 and then 3. I'm not sure. It will test your grip strength, that is for sure. There we go. And this is the Metropolitan palette. The glue dot here is smaller, but it seems to be similar in the sense that it's coming off quite easily. Yeah, I like that a lot. Sometimes you have to go in with acetone and soak the glue and scrape it off with your spatula for it to come off, but not in this case, which is actually really great. Of this palette, yeah, that matte brown I wasn't really interested in. Quite easy to discard. I don't know, I have my browns and I like them. This is the shade Alaska, and it is quite a beautiful topper shade with pink and light blue and lavender shift. I need to check if I have something similar. The formula feels a little bit dry compared to, let's say, a Glam Shop. And I don't think I have anything similar because all of these are have much more of a strong base. This is a marble shadow. They feel much more oily, whereas this one is really more dry, the Nabla one. I hope something of this will be in focus also. No, I don't think I have anything like it. Oh, what is this? I don't like this one. This one needs to go. That's the shade Dainty from Glam Shop. Impromptu letting shades go. So I think I'm gonna keep it and see if I'll use it this winter. If I don't, I'll put it in the palette that needs to go. Then another coral. We just saw a coral in this other palette right there. And I really don't get why they added 2 corals in 2 palettes. They're slightly different. This one is more muted. This one is brighter. And I still don't get why would you do that in such a small color story. It's a bit like when Norvina was putting random pops of color corals in her palettes. Just no, thank you. Oh, this one came off clean. This looks like a beautiful burgundy, but it's not particularly sparkly or anything. It has some fine sparkle in it, but I'm not impressed, like in love with the formula, so rather not. And these 2 are the shades that I want to keep. This is a beautiful sparkly gold. Warm, very warm, but gorgeous. Formula is stunning. It is really sparkly. I like that a lot. And this shade right here, the solution, is really the reason for this palette to exist for me. And the reason why I don't declutter it. It's, I showed you before, it's this beautiful rose gold neutral sparkly gorgeousness. I've worn it quite a few times while I had these palettes out since the last collection declutter video, and I just decided, that made me decide to do this instead of decluttering all of these palettes. Final palette is the Platinum, and this one I really like for these 2 shades, and this one, because the silver I don't use. The matte is actually not bad at all, but in the context of this, rather than in the context of a matte brown. So this is this beautiful, I don't know, taupe brown. It has quite a cool shift on top and more of a hazelnut color base. This gorgeousness is a cool toned brown, almost gray with silver sparkle. Again, this gorgeous shimmery, sparkly, drier formula, but with a base color this time. And Priceless is also nice, bronzy shimmer. Even though I think I have something nicer from Glam Shop. Oh yeah, it's really, really similar to this velvet shade, oh no, Golden Olive, sorry, by Colored Rain. I thought it was more close to, no, this is Headliner. No, this one maybe. And this one is much, like if I had to choose, actually, I would definitely use this guy right here instead of this one. So I'm actually not gonna keep that one either. So again, all this work for just 2 shadows. There we go. This is dangerous because your shadows could also all break. Luckily, they didn't. I have finished labels, apparently. I thought I had another sheet. So I'm only gonna write down on the one I'm keeping, and this is, I'm just gonna write with directly on the pan. In principle, it's fine. It might fade in the long run if you touch it a lot or move it a lot. I also would really like to get this extra layer of cardboard off. Makes my life easier. Oh, okay. Luckily nothing happened. One question I still have is about this brown. I really like it, so I want to see if I have anything like it in my collection. Not in here. Because I really liked the tone of this brown. That's quite similar. That is Makeup Geek Wild West. Yeah, that makes sense. I do really love that shade. Then one more option is in here, and it would be this one, I guess. No, that's way cooler. And that's similar enough. Similar enough not to keep it, so that will go. So here we are. I destroyed 3 palettes to gain 6 eyeshadows. I don't know if that would make a lot of sense, but I had the palettes, I wanted the shadows. I'm keeping these eyeshadows right here, and I am getting rid of these. Not that they don't perform well, especially the silver is so stunning, but I never wear silver, like ever. So yeah, see, why would they do this? Why are there 2 corals in this lineup? Too much. And 4 browns that are quite similar. Anyways, here was the video. I hope you enjoyed depotting with me. I'm happy to have these. I'll put them in my other special palettes. With that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And I will see you in my next one. Bye, guys.